Unparalleled emotional enjoyment is how Robert Plowman described the process of having and raising children.
I'd have as many kids as I could.
And I think that was a perfect way to describe it because there really is nothing else like it.
But your love for your kids, it's deep, and evolution designed it to be that way.
And he makes the comparison to the Marines, saying it's sort of like the Marines. If you get, some parents in their cup after they, a couple drinks, you ask them, like, how was it being a parent? How was it watching your kid grow up? They'll often say, like the Marines, anyone who served, they say, it was great, but, I probably wouldn't do it again. And this is one of the most interesting things. It's like you don't exactly register all of that unparalleled emotional enjoyment and fulfillment as you're going through the process, but it is present, it is there. But it's a unique thing where it's not something like after the fact you're like, yeah, like I would 100% do that again, because you remember every single emotional spike that you experienced throughout that process. Like you don't really clock it in the moment, but it really is unparalleled. And a big reason for this is because Robert Plowman explains that you're genetically 50% similar to your offspring on average. And so there's nobody else in life aside from your parents, or if you have a sibling, or if you have, even better, an identical twin, then it's 100%. But when you have an offspring, they're 50% similar to you, and you learn to appreciate the differences as well, the 50% differences, as you watch them grow and manifest into who they are.
Genetically, there's really something pushing us to have kids, and we'll find it a very rewarding relationship because this person's 50% like you genetically. Your spouse isn't. At a DNA level, there is assortative mating, but you only correlate genetically with your spouse about 0.1. You can actually do this at a DNA level. You are picking someone who's sort of like you, especially in intelligence, it turns out. That's the most highest assortative mating. But it's only 0.1. You're 0.5 genetically related with your kid, and you learn to appreciate not just the similarities, but the differences. So I think really a lot of the enjoyment of being a parent and recognizing genetics is that you marvel at watching this person become who they are genetically, in a way, rather than thinking you're going to make them be what you want them to be.
That's a big reason why you don't want to try to make your child into something. You let them make themselves, because they're not going to have 100% of your genetics. And besides that, environmental influence isn't going to hold up anyway. As we've talked about before with heritability snowballing, they're only going to become more and more like who they truly are as they age. And that's because we create our environments. Environment is very misunderstood. If you're interested in that topic, I made a whole hour-long discussion video on it. So we're not going to dive into that now, but my point is, you don't want to try to shift your child into something that you desire, because that's never going to work. It's never going to be sustainable. There's just going to be an incongruency there, because you have to appreciate those differences. They are also going to be like your spouse. But you learn to appreciate that then, and you watch and marvel. That's the word he used. You marvel at this person, this human being, becoming something like their own person, and you could see your similarities in them, and you can see the differences too, and the unique combination of the similarities and differences. And there really is nothing else like that in life. And that's why it's so rewarding. It's so uniquely rewarding to watch a child grow up And there's more to this too that he doesn't address in the video, but he does say we are designed to reproduce. This is how evolution designed reproduction. Evolution designed reproduction to be rewarding.
You know that at an evolutionary point of view, having children is something that we're designed to do. And a lot of people will tell you, I mean, I feel this way. I'd have as many kids as I could because it's you know, I don't want to cause trouble or anxiety for people who aren't having kids. That's fine. Have that choice. But we don't have enough people saying it's the most wonderful thing in life. I mean, you think falling in love with someone is great. It'll change. But your love for your kids, you know, it's deep. And evolution designed it to be that way. So you're not fighting against something biological. You're going with your evolutionary flow. So we're, you know, and it's not all easy. It can be difficult, but it still is a very rewarding part of life.
Now remember, evolution's pragmatic. You know, it didn't have like a conscious design in it. Don't take that word too literally. But the way reproduction is designed, it's designed to be rewarding for us. The reason it's rewarding is because if it wasn't rewarding, then we wouldn't be here. You know, it's as simple as that. And so this leads me to say that there's even more to it than the process of watching your child be born, watching your child grow up. There's so much more to it. It goes so much deeper because every single behavior that you exhibit on a daily basis when you're not consciously thinking about having kids, because most people are not planning out having kids. It just happens. It's just something that happens usually. Statistically, most people these days are getting married after the fact in many countries. So most people are not like planning to have a kid. It's just something that happens. And it's because all of your behaviors, every single thing, even though like 99.99% of people are unaware of it, everything that's rewarding to you and everything that's punishing you, it's all correlated. It's really directly related to your likeliness and your progression towards having children. And when I first brought this up on the channel, I had some people arguing in the Discord saying, well, you know, you could sort of hack your brain like the same way you can with drugs. You can sort of like trick your brain, trick those evolutionary tendencies to reward you when you're on the right path to reproduction. So what would that look like? Something like when you eat food at its most baseline level, eating food leads to survival and being healthy, and that's going to make you more likely to find a partner, be more likely to be attractive. When you take care of your health, when you go to the gym, it feels rewarding. It's because it's becoming more likely that you're gonna be able to find that partner, and then you start getting even closer to it. Then when you start texting that person that you got their phone number, you get those dopamine hits when they text you back, and you just can't help but feel like a little bit of little butterflies in your stomach if you really like that person. Like if you're someone with no dating experience and you're just talking to one girl, oh my God, the butterflies in your stomach, the crazy feelings you get, and all your logic goes out the window because all your mind is focused on and all your emotions are focused on is just the path to reproduction. This is why people's logic gets clouded. You know, and this is why they get tricked often with like beta bucks scenarios and, you know, gold diggers and scenarios like that. It's just biological hardwiring. You're so flooded with those emotions because the person is either your only option or maybe they're by far your best genetic option, like some girl who is way better looking than all the other girls, and you just marvel at her and you feel some insane connection. And every time you text her, you're gonna get like those emotional feelings. And why are you feeling good? Why are you like excited to wake up the next day to check if she texted you? Why are you excited to then a step further, closer? Why are you excited to get dressed up for dinner with her. Like, it's actually an enjoyable process, putting on your clothes, doing your hair, and preparing the restaurant reservation. Like, all of that, it becomes fun because it's linked to reproduction. And then you take that step further, and then you get to the date. The date itself becomes fun and enjoyable if it's a woman that, like, you see yourself potentially reproducing with. If you have no options, it doesn't matter like what the woman acts like or looks like. You're just going to be infatuated and you're going to enjoy it, unless it's just a really terrible experience. There's nuance, obviously, with it. I'm trying to be concise, but if she's, acting in the right way, or she just genetically looks really beautiful, subconsciously you could see yourself having kids with her. But this isn't like something you're consciously thinking about. This is just biological hardwiring. It's just we're being rewarded for it because, like, you're not clocking it. You're not consciously thinking about it. You could be on that date thinking to yourself, I know I have no intentions to have children. You could be thinking that to yourself as you're on that date, and it won't matter because we're just simply biologically designed to be rewarded by activities that, whether we are aware of it or not, will inevitably eventually lead to reproduction. Because again, like I said, we're not always often not planning out having kids. It's just something that happens. It's become less common now with protected sex and all, but it still happens. And I mean, like, I'll make some Discord exclusive lore videos, to give you guys some unique insights, personal stories and stuff. Because I'm not just talking from like data and all, like I have my own experiences as well. And I think a lot of it would be very insightful. So join the Discord if you haven't already. But my point is, like, every single behavior you engage in, one way or another, it's either rewarding you or punishing you, because it's either getting you closer to reproduction or away from reproduction. Because that's simply why we are here. We're here just to replicate. And it's not any deeper than that. Like, that's just, it is what it is. And I don't think that's dark. I don't think that's bad. I think you can embrace that and live an extremely fulfilling life, embracing that and not rejecting that. And so that's why I've chosen to embrace this truth. Robert Plowman even said, I tried to have as many kids. I tried to have many kids, and now I feel a connection with my grandkids too. And that's how I feel as well. Just like Robert Plowman, I intend to fully embrace this hardwiring. I want to live congruent with my biology. Like, to fight this is fighting tens of hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, well, technically millions of years of evolution. And to fight that would not be an easy task. Now, back to what we were talking about earlier, about people scamming their reward systems, like with drugs or whatever. This is not sustainable. You could do it temporarily, but on a long enough time frame, just like gambling, the house will always win. The house is always win because you're scamming it. It's not real. Like when you do cocaine, when you do any kind of drug that's affecting your dopamine receptors, you're going to have to pay that price later. Any form of like tricking your reward system, something like pornography, for example, like you're going to have to pay for that one way or another. In the moment, you're tricking your biology. In the moment, you're being rewarded for it. But you end up you scam your own biology. You scam it, and thus you eventually get punished for it. This punishment is not always like as direct and like easy to explain as you'd think. But, like on a surface level observation, like you feel a lot of like shame after something like that. That's why personally, one reason why I don't engage in pornography, I'm disgusted by it, honestly. When I was younger, I used to like look at pictures of naked girls, but I never liked the pornographic videos. That shit always like really, like, it just makes me feel very uncomfortable. I don't know if anyone can relate, but yeah, in general, like that combined with the fact that I know I'd be scamming my biology, I just feel it's not good for me. But there's many ways people scam their biology. You know, like drugs are another example, and that's something like obviously you end up paying for. Alcohol, you know, you end up paying for that the next day. But there's more complicated long-term things as well. So yeah, that like you could trick your mind, but it's a short-term solution, and you're going to end up paying for it in the long run, in comparison to embracing your biology, recognizing that we're here to pass down our genes. But it doesn't just stop there, but you not only want to pass down your genes, but ensure that you want to ensure that your offspring then are also going to leave offspring. So, you know, there could be many different strategies different people tend to do, and they're all viable strategies and all congruent with biology. You'll see some men it's more aligned in their biology to spread maximum seed, just have many, many kids with many different baby mamas and not take care of them at all. That's like deep rooted in their biology. It's not a cultural thing. People say it's a cultural thing. It's not. This is in certain people's biology more than others, and it's because they're different strategies of ensuring longevity of the genes. And remember, this isn't like a conscious thing. It's just some strategies worked out, some strategies didn't work out, and there's a plethora of strategies that worked. So you'll see, like in some communities, in some races, it is more common that the fathers aren't sticking around and taking care of the children, but the fathers are just continuing to have many, many kids. It's not something they're thinking about. It's not something they're strategizing. This is just their natural behavior, because this behavior was rewarded through evolution. And that's why they enjoy doing that. That's why they do what they do. And then there's the other strategies of like ensuring that the one single offspring you have to 3 single offspring are very well taken care of. So they have a high chance of leaving offspring as well. Not just taken care of in terms of resources, that's actually a lot less important. What I more so mean is taken care of in a genetic sense. Like you're being extremely selective with your sexual partner. You're ensuring that you select a partner who's going to have really good physical and mental genetics. So these kids have a high probability of genetic recombination, of then passing down their genes as well. And that's why, you know, some races, some groups of people are more likely to act in that manner, and others are more likely to act in another manner. And that's simplifying it. There's many other genetic reasons for this. There's many different behavioral tendencies that come into play, but that is something important to not be overlooked. It's not a cultural thing. Very misunderstood. It is not culture. It is genetic. So yeah, like both of these strategies, regardless of how you decide to live your life, if you feel it's congruent with your biology to have, 10 baby mamas and lots of kids, maybe that's congruent with your biology. Or you might be the person where you want to have a monogamous relationship and just, have, a couple kids with that one woman that you're going to be able to provide, the ideal genetic recombination to, and continue having kids with that same woman because she is the best genetic option possible, and that's why you stick around. It's not so much to take care of the kids. It's more so to stick around to continue replicating with that other individual. What else? But yeah, like either way, it's congruent with just the simple foundation of we are designed to reproduce. And the more you embrace that and the less you try to fight that, the more fulfilling and rewarding life tends to become. Like you could just accept it and acknowledge it, and that's fine, and just not try to fight it. And suddenly things, might become more enjoyable, might not become more enjoyable, but at the end of the day, I'm just yapping. This environmental influence, this little video you're watching, isn't going to have a significant impact on you. And if it does, you are genetically predisposed to that future anyway. I mean, technically, maybe all of you are like that because, the algorithms guide you, the algorithms know you, the algorithms understand your genetic tendencies and what videos you like to see. Blue-pilled normal people don't end up on a video like this. This video doesn't get promoted to them. The algorithm knows what you like. And so it was in your genetics anyway to come to these conclusions anyway. So it really is genetic snowballing, like how you ended up on this channel. Like, this isn't purely an environmental factor. The reason you're exposed to this environmental factor, the reason you're listening to the words that I'm saying is because of your genetics. And that's a combination of physical and your mental, behavioral genetics. Because the physical genetics, more likely than not, you're not Chad. If you're Chad, you don't end up on a channel like this. You don't end up being so introspective, thinking about these concepts. There's a chance maybe you're sub 5 or you're, 5 to 6, but those physical genetics played a part into why you went down this path, that combined with your mental genetics as well. So like this video, it's just part of the snowballing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like people think like, oh, you bring up the word genetics, like, oh, so dark, so doomer. It's not. Like, it's literally just living and accepting the truth about life. And that's what I try to do. I don't hide from the truth. I take note, I acknowledge it, and that's that. And I'm at peace with it, and I embrace it. Trying to think if there was anything else in that interview that I wanted to touch on. But yeah, overall, it's just we are designed to reproduce, and that is why it is such a rewarding experience. And as I already addressed, even many people who've had kids already, they're gonna tell you like it's not all that, it's not great. And it's just because like you don't register all those little emotional moments, all those little reasons you have a boost in the morning, a reason to wake up. It's like, and this is even before you have the kid, like just leading up to it. Everything circles around this, and it's the most obvious thing. It's right in front of our faces. But yeah, I'm not saying like the world's going to be a better place if you reproduce, by the way, because I know we have a lot of sub 5s on the channel too. Like, I'm not saying this advice is like benefiting society at all. I'm literally just speaking a single truth about who we are as human beings, and I'm not advocating you do or don't do anything, because the truth is it's just not very eugenic for me to like promote something like that, especially to this demographic. So yeah, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm just saying a truth. I'm not saying the world's going to be a better place if you reproduce, because it probably isn't. And then another thing That always gets me, is when people are like, "What's up, buddy? What are you doing? What's going on, huh?" He is in a radically different environment than what his genes have prepared him for. That's all we are. The residue of evolution.
In 1 mile,
We have
exit
took
right.
this dog and we have plopped him into an environment that is radically different than what he was designed for. Like, he's like, what the fuck? What is this moving thing that I'm in? He's trying to comprehend the inertia and the
In
vibrations.
0.6 miles, exit right.
That's all we are, you know. We're bodies in radically different environments
in half a
than what
mile, exit right.
we were, you know. Evolution can't act that quick. Evolution can't keep up with our advancements. But it's so interesting because then you can argue, well, not argue, it is the truth. Like,
In a quarter of
even
a mile,
technological
exit right.
advancements are part of evolution. Like,
In
people are like,
0.1
well,
miles, exit
don't
right.
you think-
Exit right.
don't you think, you know, iPhones and all are like
In
fucking
1
with
mile,
evolution?
Exit right.
It's like, no, this is all part of it. Just because it's not in any textbooks doesn't mean it's not like part of it. Fuck textbooks, by the way. Most of them are, the spine of the textbook is based on studies that cannot be replicated.
In 0.6
We're gonna talk about that
miles,
soon, okay?
Exit right.
But we're kind of just rambling now. Let's wrap this up. Later.